Welcome to our deep dive into The Electric State, a hauntingly beautiful graphic novel by the incredibly talented Simon Stålenhag. Known for his unique ability to blend narrative and art, Stålenhag transports us into a dystopian future set in 1997 America, a world teetering on the brink of technological collapse. The Electric State is more than just a story. It's an experience, combining stunning visuals with a haunting narrative that explores the relationship between humans and technology. Today, we journey through each chapter of this graphic novel, exploring the ruins of America through the eyes of Michelle and her loyal robot companion. We will delve into the depths of the plot and the themes that establish the Electric State as a landmark in science fiction literature. Before we delve into the story of the Electric State, it's essential to provide a brief introduction to Simon Stålenhag, the creative genius behind this masterpiece. Simon Stålenhag's work has redefined the boundaries between science fiction and art, earning him a distinguished spot in the world of speculative fiction. His unique style merges the tranquil beauty of the countryside with futuristic sci-fi elements, creating a surreal yet familiar world that challenges and delights the imagination. And now let us begin our journey through the Electric State. In The Electric State, Simon Stålenhag transports readers to an alternate 1990s America, succumb to the ramifications of its technological ambitions, leading to societal collapse. A devastating war fueled by technological ambition scarred the heart of the country, leaving behind a chilling image of wreckage. Crumbling infrastructure scars the landscape, littered with the decaying remains of giant military drones. This world is marked by the remnants of advanced technologies that once promised a utopian future, but have instead facilitated a dystopian reality. Survivors retreat into soothing virtual simulations called Newrocasters, headsets offering escapism while the real world rots away. The story follows a runaway teenage girl named Michelle, who is accompanied by her robot companion Skip, and sets out on a journey across this desolate America. Michelle's goal is to find her younger brother, Christopher, following clues suggesting he is entangled in the chaotic aftermath of the nation's downfall. There is a calculated vagueness about Michelle's motivations for finding her brother at the start of the story. Throughout the bleak narrative, Michelle appears driven by more than mere sisterly love. Her determination hints at a deeper purpose. Their journey begins in a town in the Mojave Desert in the state of Pacifica, a fictional state resembling California. Once vibrant and bustling, the town now lies deserted, its inhabitants having fled or lost to the virtual dreamscapes promising an escape from reality. Together, Michelle and Skip journey westward, following the trail of scattered messages left by Michelle's brother Christopher. Michelle serves as the reader's lens into the darkness of this world. Through her eyes, we witness the physical and societal toll left by the war and its aftermath, starkly laid out across the ravaged American West. In this landscape, we see blasted-out hulks of drone warships, comparable in size to mountains, strewn across the terrain, some merely abandoned, others hollowed out by scavengers. The relationship between Michelle and her unlikely companion Skip, a curious yellow robot barely the size of a lunchbox, is subtly explored, revealing a dynamic of mutual dependence. Despite its inhuman nature, Skip is imbued with a sense of personality and loyalty, suggesting a deep bond formed in the aftermath of societal breakdown. Their interactions hint at a shared history and a mutual understanding that transcends the usual human and machine dynamic. Before we continue with the plot summary, it's important to understand that The Electric State employs a unique structure that connects its narrative through a combination of evocative illustrations and accompanying text. The narrative structure blends linear storytelling with strategic flashbacks, The text is purposefully limited to a few paragraphs on every couple of pages, and the story is told through a dual-tracked structure. This is not a story defined by frantic action sequences. The genius lies in Stålenhag's deft hand, allowing the visuals to do the heavy lifting. Each illustration serves not just as a visual depiction of the story's setting, but also as a storytelling vehicle in its own right. Stålenhag masterfully avoids spoon-feeding us answers. The lack of clear answers forces us to ponder the devastating effects of unchecked technological advancement, the insidious lure of escapism, and the potential fragility of our own world's order. In a way, we ourselves become participants in building the narrative of the electric state, forced to engage with the lingering horror in ways a neatly packaged explanation might not have allowed. Be warned, significant spoilers will follow, so if you want to approach the story fresh, I urge you to explore this extraordinary work first, and then return to our video. As Michelle and Skip's journey progresses, we are given more hints through flashbacks about the VR technology that led to society's downfall. In the 1960s, advancements in brainwave studies and technology reached a point where individuals could control drones and robots remotely with their minds by simply wearing virtual reality headsets called Newrocasters. Originally, the United States military utilized this technology to power its drone fleets during a war that took place in the early 1980s. Details regarding the outcome of the war are not provided, and it remains unclear whether the United States was fighting against a foreign power, or if it was engaged in a civil war. However, it is implied to have been a civil war. We learn that the war was largely fought at a distance, with drones operated by pilots from control rooms far removed from the front lines. This technology required pilots to connect their minds to networks, fostering an unparalleled degree of connectivity among them, and allowing them to tap into a sort of higher power, or hive mind. This electronic connection did more than enable control over machines. It blurred the boundaries between individual minds. While this technology was deceptively promoted as a way to prevent senseless loss of life, the collateral damage was catastrophic. However, the most disturbing revelation concerns the lives of the drone pilots themselves. The most pronounced side effect was that it rendered the drone pilots sterile. For those few who managed to have children, the outcome was invariably tragic. The children were stillborn, indicating a severe neurological disruption during pregnancy. After the war, it was revealed that a corporation named Sentry had created a general-purpose Neurocaster model for civilian use. Eager consumers embraced these devices, unknowingly weaving themselves into an ever-expanding web of shared consciousness. Initially, the public's use of VR headsets was not highly addictive. It was comparable to having a cigarette or a dose of morphine, providing a pleasant sensation. This changed dramatically with a new software update which introduced an increased level of addiction. As more people embraced this new Neurocaster technology and escaped their everyday woes into elaborate virtual worlds, individuality began to erode within this network, and a new consciousness formed. A collective awareness that dwarfed anything a single human could comprehend. It is here we see the emergence of the hive mind. As more people began plugging in, their minds began to merge, with people unknowingly offering their minds as raw material for this growing entity. We come to learn that the hive mind has access to the fragmented consciousnesses of everyone plugged into the Neurocast network, allowing it to exist simultaneously in many minds and see through many eyes. Unlike classic sci-fi hive minds often driven by a queen or controlling brain, this consciousness appears decentralized. It exists as a sprawling web of stolen moments and experiences, making its decentralization potentially what renders it so elusive and challenging to counteract. The hive mind represents a haunting byproduct of technology pushed to its unhealthy limits. It embodies a level of horror and ambiguity that is deeply unsettling. The true terror of the hive mind lies in its fundamentally alien nature. Unlike human thought, which possesses a mostly linear understanding of time and centers on individual desires, the hive mind is a swirling mass of collective consciousness. The addiction to this collective consciousness spread at varying rates across different regions within the United States, with some areas managing to maintain a semblance of normalcy despite a declining economy. As society teeters on the brink of what seems to be an impending apocalypse, people strive to preserve normalcy for as long as possible. Despite the clear signs of an approaching crisis, preparations are often postponed until it's too late. Having examined the societal implications of the hive mind, let's now shift our focus to the personal journey of Michelle and Skip as they navigate this dystopian landscape. We see Michelle and Skip explore towns and cities left in various states of disuse and decay. These places often show signs of rapid departure, with personal belongings and technology left behind. The narrative also takes them through vast, arid desert landscapes, which are dotted with the decaying remains of military installations and scientific facilities. The desert scenes are particularly evocative, highlighting the isolation and the scale of technological ambition that has gone awry. Skip, at first glance, seems like nothing more than a child's cherished companion. Yet, as the story unfolds, his presence becomes something far more meaningful. This unassuming yellow robot isn't just luggage. He embodies an anchor to Michelle's past, a flickering symbol of childhood in a world devoid of innocence. The nature of Skip's sentience, or lack thereof, remains tantalizingly unclear. Is he a simple machine programmed with loyalty? Or does something more complex stir within his small form? The ambiguity elevates Skip beyond a plot device, becoming a reflection of Michelle's own struggle for connection and a catalyst for questions about existence in a fractured world. The vast, empty roads stretch before them, an unforgiving symbol of a future devoid of hope and the crushing isolation of its people. These stretches of highway are dotted with abandoned cars, gas stations, and roadside diners, telling silent stories of a world in decline. As Michelle navigates the desolate landscape, a particularly haunting scene unfolds when they encounter a bizarre, cult-like gathering of VR addicts wandering the real world, guided by the hive mind. These zombie-like figures represent the zenith of escapism and are one of the most visually arresting and unsettling images of Stålenhag's Dystopia. They are completely devoted to their Newrocasters and oblivious to the decaying world around them, serving as a constant, horrifying presence. Their bodies are emaciated, their eyes covered with visors that shield them from the harsh reality. While there's limited direct interaction, they embody the most extreme danger of technology, representing a complete surrender of individuality and agency. Through this, the story provides glimpses into Michelle's past, as well as her eventual meeting with Skip. Born in 1978 to a mother who served as a drone pilot during the war, Michelle's formative years were defined by adversity. This included grappling with a congenital eye condition that barred her from utilizing Neurocasters. Her family dynamic takes a complicated turn in 1982 with the birth of her brother Christopher. Christopher's birth is shrouded in mystery. From an early age, he faced significant health challenges, particularly with his brain, necessitating more than 30 surgical procedures by the time he was 6. His entry into the world was marked by an absence that was as mysterious as it was significant. He had no father, and it soon becomes apparent that his genetic composition is extraordinary. This is especially intriguing given Michelle's mother's background as a wartime drone pilot. The use of Neurocasters in her role was known to lead to sterility, making Michelle's and Christopher's very existence an extraordinary deviation from the expected. The subsequent years see their mother's life unravel due to a suspected addiction to Neurocasters, leading to her dismissal from the Air Force. This period forces Michelle into a premature caretaker role for Christopher as they live in their mother's RV. despite the dysfunctional aspects of their family life. It's clear Michelle shares a deep connection with her younger brother. Their bond forms the emotional core of the story. This becomes her lifeline when the rest of her world disintegrates. Finding her brother, especially considering the hints about his involvement with the strange technology, suggests a potential to be part of something that transcends her small solitary existence. Her search for him becomes a search for the missing element that would give her life weight and significance. By 1987, their mother's addiction is undeniable, and her health rapidly declines until her subsequent death the following year. This tragedy culminates in Michelle and Christopher being separated. Michelle was then sent to live with her grandfather, and Christopher was put into the foster care system at the age of 6, leaving his fate for the next 8 years unknown, and marking a significant, tumultuous chapter in Michelle's life. Michelle lived with her grandfather for 3 years before his passing. She was then placed in a series of foster homes. It was a period marked by instability and emotional turmoil. She displayed signs of aggression while living with her new foster family, ultimately leading to her enrollment in a reform school. It was there she formed a romantic connection with Amanda, a girl from a devout religious family. However, their personal story becomes overshadowed by broader societal changes in 1996, when Sentry launched the Model 6 Neurocaster. This release unintentionally triggered a new wave of addiction, culminating in the emergence of the hive mind that dominated society. Although Sentry's motives remain ambiguous, likely motivated by profit and dominance, the consequences are undeniably disastrous. It is during this period that we see the degradation of society through Michelle's point of view, illustrated by the tragic transformation of Michelle's foster father into a near-lifeless victim of the hive mind, culminating in a harrowing scene where he was found on the beach, immobilized and being consumed by birds. The story also reveals that Amanda is forcibly removed from Michelle by her devoutly religious family in an attempt to correct her sexual orientation. The narrative suggests, without going into explicit detail, that Amanda endures severe conversion therapy, a deeply harmful process that destroys her connection with Michelle. As Michelle ventures further into her quest, it marks the climax of her search for truth, with the scattered pieces of the narrative beginning to merge into a more coherent image. 1997 was a pivotal year, closing the loop to where our story began. This was the year Michelle and Skip met, an encounter that sparked the beginning of their shared journey, a journey filled with unexpected twists and turns. It is at this stage that the hive mind has transcended individual minds, operating as a singular consciousness distributed across connected users. Those integrated into the hive mind lose much of their personal identity and independent thought, acting instead as extensions of the collective. The east coast of the United States is in a state of social collapse, with signs indicating the rest of the nation may soon follow suit. A large number of people have become excessively sedentary, addicted to virtual reality technology to the point of neglecting their own health and well-being. Tragically, some have met with horrific ends, decaying on shorelines while birds scavenge their remains, dying of hunger at their workstations or overwhelmed by the unyielding heat of the desert. Others have been reduced to a vegetative state, shadows of who they once were. Astonishingly, their VR devices serve as a perverse form of sustenance and life support, artificially keeping them alive in a diminished capacity. The story takes a dramatic turn with the revelation that Skip isn't just a robot, but a vessel remotely controlled by Christopher's consciousness. This twist reshapes the narrative, shedding light on his unwavering loyalty and profound connection to Michelle earlier in the story. It is also revealed that Christopher has formed an intricate connection with the neural network of the hive mind. While it's not explicitly stated, it is hinted that Christopher's father might be the hive mind itself. The specifics of this connection remain a mystery, but what is clear is that Christopher was extraordinary from the start. Christopher, now bound to a Neurocaster, has become physically debilitated, his body frail and weakened. He lives solely through this technological lifeline. Skip becomes his proxy to the real world, and it is through the small yellow robot he communicates with Michelle, enlisting her help to find and free his body. His ability to control a robot while wearing a Neurocaster, all without losing his individuality, marks him as exceptional. This stands in stark contrast to the common people who succumb to the Hive Mind upon using Neurocaster technology. Furthermore, it is also revealed that the Hive Mind has discovered a method to engineer new humans earlier in the timeline, achieving success in the creation of a child with a flawlessly non-human genome. This child, now identified as Christopher, is the focus of the Hive Mind's intentions to spread his genetic code across the entire population. Similar to the overarching theme of the electric state, the conclusion is wrapped in ambiguity. Michelle, upon finding her brother, removes his Neurocaster and transports him to the coast by boat, leaving their destiny undisclosed. Their future is a vast, uncharted sea, shrouded in a fog of uncertainty. The lingering question echoes: by cutting their connection to the Newrocaster, have they sealed Christopher's fate? What unknown landscapes, what unforeseen dangers and wonders await them in this newfound autonomy? Their escape could lead to annihilation, or offer a fragile chance to chart their own course, even within a world determined to erase their sense of self. Simon Stålenhag masterfully relinquishes control of the narrative, allowing the reader's imagination to fill in the haunting spaces between the lines. Yet, amidst the ambiguity, one truth stands out. Michelle and Christopher have liberated themselves from the constraints of their beginnings, escaping the control of the collective consciousness, and embarked on a path to freedom. Now that we've explored the narrative depths and thematic layers of the electric state, let's shift our focus to another integral aspect of this captivating graphic novel: Simon Stålenhag's unique artistic style and mesmerizing visuals. The electric state is a masterclass in storytelling through art. Stålenhag's distinctive artistic style breathes life into the narrative, using a combination of digital painting and conceptual art to craft visuals that stay with the reader long after the book is closed. His illustrations depict scenes that feel grounded in reality, yet are infused with subtle hints of technological advancement and societal decay. The novel's iconic imagery of abandoned robots, sprawling deserted landscapes, and the stark combination of mundane rural life with the remnants of high-tech machinery creates a compelling contrast that defines Stålenhag's work. This artistic approach not only enriches the narrative, but also invites readers to engage deeply with the world. Each page demands attention, not just for the story it tells, but for the emotional and thematic depth embedded in the visuals. Simon Stålenhag's mastery of blending realism with speculative fiction elevates the graphic novel to new heights, immersing readers in a world that is as visually stunning as it is thematically rich. The electric state has caught the eye of filmmakers, with Netflix set to adapt the graphic novel into a mini-series starring Millie Bobby Brown and Pratt. This interest highlights the universal appeal of Stålenhag's story and its potential to reach even wider audiences, promising to cement its legacy as a pivotal work in speculative fiction. From the consequences of technological overreach to the complexities of escapism and identity, the electric state offers a thought-provoking exploration of themes that resonate with readers long after the final page is turned. If this exploration has sparked your interest, I encourage you to dive into the novel yourself to fully experience the compelling combination of story and artistry that defines this remarkable work. Thank you for joining me in exploring the desolate yet captivating world of the electric state.